Hi, and welcome along to AFTV, the News Daily, our evening edition. Of course, we're in a lockdown here at the moment in the UK, and what we're trying to do is talk to you guys every day, give you guys a chance to have your say on all things Arsenal, all things football. And joining me tonight, I have with me the one and only Mo Hader. It's good to have you on board, bro. How you doing?
How's it going? Yeah, I'm good, man. Just coping with lockdown and just gutted that it's international break. It's that football's been the thing keeping me going during lockdown. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself now.
Watch the international games.
No, man. So dull. So dull. I mean, honestly, you look at it, watching England games, one of the most exciting attacking midfielders that just destroyed us a couple of days ago. Where is he?
Yeah.
International football is not the one.
But England are playing Belgium. That'll be a good game, though.
Yeah, well, international football for me. Yeah, it's boring.
Not excited at all, are you? Listen, first of all, before we get stuck into the subject, I want to say congratulations to you. I saw your post yesterday. Little Mo Hader on the way. So congratulations for that.
Yeah,
all
thank you very much.
And all that traveling, I see every time on your Instagram, you're in this country, that country. That's over.
Do you know what? It's true, and that was intentional. I did as much traveling as I could before starting family, but I can't lie. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. But I just need to watch myself now because for years I've been thinking, no matter what I do and say on AFTV, that's there permanently. And my kid, when they're old enough, they're going to be digging up all that. So I've always tried to have a clean act and not embarrass myself. But now that's going to be at the forefront of my mind. So be very careful. Yeah,
pressure's
exactly,
on, man. Pressure's on.
Be a good role model.
Well, listen, tonight we're discussing Alexander Lacazette. And by the way, everybody, we've got a brand new AFTV Mobi app, which is available right now. We're going to put a link in the description. You can click onto that. We got a poll on it at the moment, and it says, is it time to bench Lacazette? Right? And at the moment, 60% of people are saying yes. 40% of people are saying no, we need to persist with him. All right. This app's available, by the way. On the app, you can get videos first before they come out on YouTube. You can get written stories are going to be on there. There's going to be loads of polls. There's going to be a team builder on there if you want to build your team before games. Lots and lots of features on this. You got a free trial on it for a month. So jump onto it right now. But vote in this poll. Absolutely free. Is it time to bench Lacazette? Mo, is it?
God, it's tough, Robbie. I hate saying it. I really do hate saying it. But we do need to change the system. That's one thing that we do know. And it's not a case of, let's just pick on anyone, randomly sort of thing, just because we need a scapegoat. But the problem is going forward. The problem is scoring goals, and the problem is creativity as well. So it's not all Lacazette. He's not getting enough chances, but ultimately it's hard to make a case that he's not changed that we need to see. So I would bench him, and I would try something else. And who knows, even that might not work.
He's a top goal scorer this season with 3, not many, but he's a top goal scorer with 3 goals. Right, so you say to yourself, bench him for who? Well, you bench him for Eddie?
Well, listen, Aubameyang down the middle. That's the one that we're all calling out for. Do you know what I mean? It's just Aubameyang is a proven goal scorer, and the thing is about Aubameyang, there's games where he's on the periphery. You think to yourself, he's playing awful today, and you'll think that after about 60 minutes, and then after the game, he got 2 goals. How did that happen? But some players just have an absolute knack for it, and they don't feel the pressure of going through a game, not doing much, because they know when that moment comes, they'll be in the right place, and they bank on that. They trust themselves on that. And I feel Lacazette doesn't do that. To me, I've seen it in his performances that if he's not getting a goal or not getting chances, he'll come deeper, he'll get more stuck in, he'll be putting himself about, doing dirty work, fouling players, will pick up a yellow card, then he'll get subbed off because, potentially a manager thinks that he's worked very hard or whatever. And then that means that when that ball flashes across the 6-yard box and Aubameyang gets a 2-yard tap in and people call him a tap-in merchant, well, Lacazette doesn't get that tap in. And that's the point here. I think he tries to do too much to overcompensate because he's not getting goals. And that's why I would like to see Aubameyang come in and just do that really boring job. Just you say to the rest of the team, give me a couple of chances in a game and I'll do my job. But that's your job.
Look, I'm looking at his goal scoring records. When he first joined Arsenal, he's been in now, this is his 4th season. When he joined in 27-18, he got 17 goals that season. The following season, he got 19 goals. And last season, 12 goals. These are Premier League goals, by the way. 12 goals. Remember, he started off really poorly last year, and then he really, after Christmas, he picked up. He was scoring a lot of goals. And then this season, as I said, he's got 3 goals, which ain't, well, nobody's been great. He's a top goal scorer with 3 goals, by the way. But he does do a lot of work off the ball, and he does hold the ball up very well, which is something that, say, Aubameyang, he doesn't do that, does he? He doesn't hold the ball. Aubameyang's not going to hold the ball up. He's just like, you've got to get it in behind him. So Lacazette, there are attributes that he has that, none of the other players, neither Eddie, Nketiah, or Aubameyang has.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. He does hold the ball up better than the rest of them, but ultimately, you have to build a system to suit your player's strengths, right? And if you've got a player like, in fact, I don't want to say names because they're rivals. I don't want to give them that credit. But if you've got a player that's really good at holding the ball up, and then other players feed off of that guy because he's holding the ball up, they make runs beyond him and they get involved in and around him, then yeah, it's worth doing. But when Lacazette does hold the ball up, I don't often remember it leading to really good counterattacks or good dynamic forward play from Arsenal. So to me, that attribute of his is almost a little bit wasted. And the other thing I'd say, Robbie, as well, you just spoke about his goal scoring stats, and I think they must be all competitions because I'm on the Premier League website as I see it right now. And in 17-18, his first season, he got 14 goals. This is what the Premier League website is saying. Then it goes down to 13 goals in 18-19. Then it goes down to 10 goals in 19-20. And for me, that's a worrying trend because if we're just looking at Premier League, just like Pepe now, for example, we're looking at a player and we're saying, okay, look, he started off slowly. It doesn't matter. He's only going to get better. For me, Lacazette, he actually started off all right. He started off well. In fact, he scored within a few minutes of his debut, if I'm not wrong. But in that first season, 14 goals in 32 appearances. You say to yourself,
sorry, you are right. Those were, that was in all competitions. I was saying, I think Premier League goals. Yeah.
But then you look at the Premier League, and he's almost getting worse, and that worries me. You expect a player to have their first season, and you think, right, it'll only get better from here, but he seems to be getting worse. That's the reality of it.
The thing is about it, Mo. Yeah. You said at the start you don't want to like sort of be scapegoating players. Is he being scapegoated? Because he's the top goal scorer. I think at the weekend it was that big header that fell to him when it was 1-0 down. He headed that over the bar. He had a big chance as well when we played Liverpool. Same sort of situation that would have got us right back in. 1-on-1. He missed that, and then there's a lot of pressure on him right now, and do we keep because sometimes it's very easy to just quickly just say, right, we're going to take this player out right now and just drop him and bring in someone. But sometimes you need to persist with the player as well and see what he can do, see if he will improve. Because it is only 8 games into the season.
Yeah, it's only 8 games into the season, but we've already lost 4. Traditionally, when you're thinking about building a title-winning team, you think to yourself, how many games can we afford to lose? So how many games does a title-winning team lose in a year? No more than 5 for me. Do you know what I mean?
In a normal season.
In a normal season, yeah.
It's just an abnormal season, yeah?
Yeah, you're right. But we've already lost 4. So I don't think we've got time to kind of say, right, we'll carry on persisting. We need action. It's a results business. And if it carries on going like this for Arteta, he's going to be under some serious pressure. So football is not a softly game with a softly approach. It's not working. You've got to fix it. And for me, look, when you said to me, come on, let's talk about Lacazette, I thought to myself, all right, fine. Listen, I love defending my players. I'm not one that wants to just scapegoat a player. You know what I'm like. I try and be a bit balanced. And with Lacazette, a lot of the time, the balanced argument that people put forward with him is that he does a lot of dirty work. He does a lot of the tackling, defending, pressing, closing down, that sort of thing. And I thought, right, fine, let me have a look at some of the defensive statistics. So I'm looking at things like tackles, blocks, clearances, and headed clearances. The names at the top of that list, people like Harry Kane, Raul Jimenez, you've got Patrick Bamford in there. And again, that was for headed clearances. Clearances, the same names, Kane, Jimenez, Bamford, all top 10. Again, blocks, Kane's in there, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's in there, Bamford's in there. Again, tackles, you think to yourself, all right, is he up there? Again, he's not anywhere. He's not there in the defensive statistics. And when we do talk about a striker doing the dirty work, doing the defensive work, you think to yourself, all right, well, that's always a secondary issue. You only ever talk about that when a striker's not getting goals. Tell me, when have we ever spoken about Ian Wright doing that? Well, we didn't, because he got goals. Whenever we were talking about Thierry Henry doing that, or Aubameyang doing tackles and clearances, we didn't really speak about that because he was getting goals. And Laka, even on all of these things that are secondary issues, he's not exactly setting the league alight. And on top of that, he's not getting goals. And when, I hate to say it, but when you look at Harry Kane, he's top of all of these charts. He's doing his job and all of those secondary things, and he's having a storming season. And from what I see of Lacazette, it's almost like he gives up on his primary reason for being in the team when that's not going right, and it's just not working. Lacazette needs to, and Arsene Wenger used to say this to strikers as well, the lines of the 18-yard box, you stick there, basically. You play within those imaginary lines across the whole length of the pitch, and you make sure you get a few shots off, you test the keeper. And for me, I don't think Lacazette is going out there thinking, I'm going to make sure I pop a couple shots off today. And he needs to remember why he's in the team.
Yeah, let me get some comments. There's loads coming in. Jermaine says, lacking confidence, especially after the criticism he faced after the Liverpool loss. Before the game, he was our best player. Don't forget that. We've got this one. Oh, sorry, no, this one is, hi, Robbie and Mo. Laka should be benched. Should only come in as a sub till he steps up. Been so wasteful recently. Aubameyang should be shifted centrally till then. Remember, he scored more goals than Aubameyang.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But that's the thing, Robbie. I think what the question that we have to ask is not who scored more goals, is would Aubameyang have scored more goals if he had the position that Lacazette has been having for the amount of minutes that he's played? And I think the answer is yes, he would have done more.
This guy says, Black Church and Reggae says, Laka Fret, really, that's a name that I've been hearing getting called a lot recently, is poor. We have the best striker in the league playing on the wing. Arteta is doing a Pep. He's overthinking things. And, you know, there's, I'm not even going to read that one. That was, there's quite a few like ones really coming in kind of hardcore on it.
Yeah,
and that says, Laka needs to be a striker who comes off the bench. He isn't who he was when he first came. Aubameyang down the middle.
And you know, the thing is on Aubameyang, Robbie, is that we have seen so many times Aubameyang playing on that left wing, cutting in and scoring goals. And in a way, the thinking might have been, look, if Aubameyang can get a lot of goals there, then let Lacazette play in the middle, who will get goals, you know, playing centrally. And together, you're getting more goals for the team. Sometimes I think you need to mix that up, though. You know, I feel like Aubameyang can have a good spell on the left wing. And if, for example, teams set up to cater to him, they double up on him and that sort of thing, you need to say, all right, fine, let's put him in the middle now and let kind of rediscover his form. And if Lacazette needs to go out of the team to accommodate that for Aubameyang to rediscover, that needs to be done.
This guy says Laka should be benched for Nketiah and Pepe should be played for Willian. Now, Eddie Nketiah, who would you rather, if it comes down to one of them two, who for you starts? Nketiah or Lacazette?
Well, right now, Nketiah, for me, because it's just not working with Lacazette. You know, he has been given the opportunity, and I know that he hasn't been given chances in the team, really lacking creativity, because that's another big issue. But he hasn't done enough for me. You know, any striker when they're playing football, they need to do something for themselves if it's not happening for them. They need to kind of set the tone for themselves. Laka hasn't done that enough. So I would be happy to see a change. But I still don't think it's a case of Laka or Nketiah. It needs to be Aubameyang down the middle. And exactly what this person just said, Pepe needs to come in the team instead of Willian.
Yeah. Patrick says, unless he can run inside, Aubameyang is useless on the wings. Teams have sussed him out and have pushed him out to the side. Is you think any truth in that?
Yeah, so saying I think teams do set up it's not hard. You're playing Arsenal. Who's Arsenal's biggest threat? Aubameyang. Where's he going to play? Left wing. Let's make sure we're tight on our right-hand side to double up on him to take him out of the game. It's not hard to do, and I think that is what's happening.
Okay. Oh, there was one that this guy, he says, Laka isn't a world-class striker. Aubameyang is, and he needs to be the priority right now. We talk about having a strong bench. Why not bench Laka and bring him on when Aubameyang is not firing?
Yeah, I think, look, that's true. I think we can't argue. We can't really make the case that that Lacazette is a world-class striker. But I think it's pretty obvious to everyone that Aubameyang is. And goals win games. So we need to do whatever it takes to get goals back in our team.
Guna Gamer TV says, promote Balogun. Laka, promote Balogun. Laka to the under 23s. He needs to work on his headers. That's a bit harsh. Fight Guy UK says, why aren't we playing both Aubameyang and Lacazette centrally? Seems logical to me. Yeah. Laka good at coming and receiving the ball, and Aubameyang's good at running in behind. That's not a bad shout. That, you know what I mean?
It's a very good shout, Robbie. This is what I was going to come on to, because for me, there have been times where we've looked at Aubameyang and Lacazette and they've been brilliant together. And I've said so many times in the past, they're at their best when they're close together on the pitch. They're good on the pitch and they're good off the pitch. They love each other in both, areas. But they're only good on the pitch when they're close to each other. And I think Lacazette's a much better player when he's in and around Aubameyang. So I 100% agree with that comment. If the next game we play, we're back to 4-4-2. We're giving Pepe a proper winger's role, and we've got Aubameyang and Lacazette playing close together up front. I'd be very happy to see that.
This guy here says, kind of suggesting the same thing. So Lacazette should be played more like Benzema and help build up. He's a good at that, and the winger would score more goals.
I feel like our wingers aren't scoring goals at the moment. And, I feel like Lacazette is coming a bit too deep. I'm of the opposite opinion. I think Laka should be staying last man, being in that penalty box and making sure he takes up the easy chances.
Keem says, not just Laka. The problem is there's no pressure at Arsenal. They get paid, they get fame, they get it all for nothing. Arsenal's atmosphere and culture is not one of work, but one of privilege, luxury, and pleasure. I don't know. I think Arteta has changed that culture. And players are now having to work harder than they have ever before. Huncho says, if we're being honest, Laka hasn't lived up to the expectations we had for him since he's been here. Unfortunately, he'll need to be moved on, seeing as we need more quality in that position. And it was quite telling that they haven't given him a new contract, did they? I mean, even when they spoke to Arteta that time, he's like, listen, there's no rush. When you start to hear those words, you start to know that, the writing's on the wall.
I think Huncho's got it right. He hasn't lived up to expectation. And I was one that really wanted Lacazette. I think he's actually a very good striker, but it's not happening for him at Arsenal.
Robbie and Mo, I'm surely shocked when many Arsenal fans get more excited. What was all about the beginnings and winning the FA Cup and Community Shield. Brainwash Arsenal fans. Arteta is not good.
Too early to say. Look, he's only been a proper first-team manager for like less than 50 games. It's too early to say. Arteta, in 10 years' time, might be nowhere, or he might be one of the most widely sought-after managers in European football. I think he's done enough, honestly, so far for us to persist with him.
Of course. I think that guy makes winning a trophy seem like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's particularly the route which we took to win that trophy. I think, put some respect on his name for that.
Definitely.
Pranav says, yes, Lacazette is missing big chances, but those are one of the few chances we're creating in the entire game. I don't think Laka is the problem here. You know what? So we were talking about that earlier, Mo. Now, it's easy to dig out a striker
Yeah.
when he's missed a big chance in a game. If you're only creating like one, there's other strikers, they might miss a chance, but then they get 2-3 other chances in the game. We're not creating enough.
Yeah, but look, Robbie, you see, let's say Ollie Watkins against us, the other day. The goals he got is because he was in a central position. And too often, I feel like when I'm looking up, and I'm no expert, am I? I'm just a fan who wants to see a striker getting goals. But when I look up and I say, where is Laka? Is he in the right space? Is he making the right run? I'm not seeing that. And these are the basics. And as I keep on saying, I see other strikers not as good as Lacazette, making the right runs, being in the right positions, and therefore getting more goals. And what I want to see of Laka is doing less of all of the other stuff and doing more of the bog standard striker stuff. And I think then he will get more chances laid onto him.
Yeah. I'm going to do a couple more for you, Mo. I know you've got to jump off, but we're going to continue everything. WYP TV says thought process was to be at Liverpool and Manchester City level. What is the point when Leicester, Southampton, Aston Villa, Everton, Crystal Palace and Wolves are all above us? Well, it's not about them being above us now. It's about where we are at the end of the season. That's what I look at. Fapan says, I have had enough of Lacazette. So Mo, before you jump off, because I know you got to jump off, but your overall verdict then. So for you, next game, Lacazette doesn't play.
My overall verdict is yes, you have to change it up. But what I would say, if I was Lacazette and I was walking out that tunnel and you line up, start the game, I look at who's playing behind me. Let's take Villa at home. Thomas Partey and Mohamed El Neni. To me, I'm thinking, what do I want behind me as a striker? I want a number 10. I want someone that I think to myself has got the eye for that pass. And I don't want, I'll be honest, I don't want Willian, on the wing. So for me, I think Lacazette, maybe a part of it is that he doesn't actually believe in the team that is there to feed him chances. But I think he needs to take on more responsibility if he does play the next game and say, I'm going to pop off a few shots. I'm going to make sure they hit the target. And when the chance comes to me, it might be in a game, I'm at least going to work the keeper and make him make a good save rather than me missing, because that's when the pressure comes onto him. But overall, I would change it up and I would put Aubameyang down the middle.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming on today. Once again, congratulations on your great news. Little Mo on the way. Maybe that's who we're going to need up front in the future.
Exactly. 18 years time.
Even in the men's team or the women's team, whichever way you go.
Well, listen, the women's team do not need any more goals because Vivian Miedema is absolutely smashing it. I wish you could play the men's.
They need someone to take over from Miedema, don't they?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I wish you could play in the men's. She's absolutely smashing it. But don't worry. If it's a boy in 18 years, all of our problems are going to be answered.
Mo, thank you very much.
That's
Mo Hader there as usual with some great insight. We're continuing this debate on, right? I want to know, Lacazette or Lacafret, as some people have been calling him. Is it time to put him on the bench? We've got the poll going on the app. Remember, don't forget, you can download the Moby app. Let me see where it's at the moment. Yeah, it's still there. 60% of fans there saying that, he needs to be dropped. Vicky says he was bought as to be an upgrade on Giroud. If hold up is his strength, Giroud was better. Move him on and salvage some value. Oof, that's harsh. We got James joining us. James, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad. Thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. Listen, I know you love your stats and everything. The stats around Lacazette ain't good at the moment. You know what I mean? He's not scoring enough goals. There's a lot of people suggesting that it's time for him to be dropped. Or what about what somebody, I don't know if you heard, but somebody suggested about 5 minutes ago. Why are we not perhaps playing a 4-4-2 with Lacazette and Aubameyang? What about that?
Yeah, well, the two up front, I'm not saying the 4-4-2 exactly, but two up front was when we were getting the best out of Lacazette. I'll take you back to those Emery days when he played Aubameyang and Lacazette up top together, and he had Ozil behind him, and then he had Ramsey as the box-to-box, and they had Maitland-Niles and Kolasinac as wing-backs. And actually, that was Lacazette's best season, not just for performances, but for goals scored and assists as well. And actually, when you look at that system and that team, he had lots of runners around him, didn't he? He had a lot of support. He had a lot of players who were getting beyond, coming short to help him. And actually, I feel for Lacazette, because there's no question that he's not doing it right now. He's not taking his chances. The ball's not sticking when it comes to his feet. He's struggling. But I think that's as much a system problem as it is an individual problem. Like, I don't think it's all on him. I think the system he's being asked to play, I don't think really suits him, if I'm honest.
So you're blaming it on Arteta then?
50-50. Look, it's not Arteta's fault that Tierney puts a brilliant ball in the box and Lacazette heads it straight over the bar. That's not Arteta's fault. And it's not Arteta's fault when, Lacazette's header against Leicester's ruled out incorrectly for offside. So Lacazette's getting into decent positions. The system is allowing him to get a few chances. But overall, no, I don't believe the system gets the best out of Lacazette. I think Arteta knows this as well. I think he's sacrificing Lacazette's best qualities in the penalty area for a more cohesive system elsewhere, potentially.
Yeah, but we ain't scoring no goals.
I know. But we were. But this, right. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Robbie. I agree we're playing terribly right now. But a few weeks or months ago, creativity, when we were winning the FA Cup, creativity wasn't a massive problem for us. We were all praising the system. That goal we scored against City in the FA Cup semi-final came from Lacazette dropping really deep and switching the ball to Pepe. And everyone was going, oh, this is genius, false nine, switching the play, and we were raving about it because it worked. It's only the last few weeks where we've really lacked any potency that we started picking on it. But, it's that same with Aubameyang. He was scoring goals on the left, so people didn't mind. But now he's not. We have an issue with it. And rightly so. We rightly have an issue with it. But I can see why he's persisted with it. But it is time for change. I agree. I agree with you, and I agree with what Mo was saying.
What about this guy? Says Lacazette needs 90 minutes, not 70 every game, plus a service to our strikers. And do you know what, James? You just made a great point. And this is where I feel a little bit sorry for Lacazette, right? In the last game against Leicester, but the game previous to when we played United, he scored a perfectly good goal that was ruled out. Now, we'd be looking at it now and we say, right, he's had 4 goals, right? And that he is our main threat and we can't maybe not drop him and that, but that was ruled out. Now it's been a little while since he scored and the pressure's on. Those are the thin margins, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's not forget the 2 chances against Liverpool. The other chances he missed against Leicester, the chance against Villa. We could very, very easily be talking about a striker on 6-7 goals as opposed to 3. And that is the fine margins of football. But that's where, for me, that's where I do blame him. We can talk about Arteta and the system and the lack of creativity, but those chances still came to him and he should have taken them.
But what if you're not creating enough chances for a player? Because that's also it as well. When you're a striker, and only, chances are being created so sparingly. If you don't take that one, because, strikers do miss. It's not every chance that comes to a striker that they're going to bury, yeah? If you're hardly getting any chances per game, you miss one, you look even worse. And we're not creating enough for these guys.
No, I agree. I do agree. And despite everything I've just said about how if he took those chances, and by the way, a lot of them were really good chances. I mean, these weren't half chances where you're thinking, oh, I understand why you missed. He really should have scored at least 2, 3, 4 of those chances. But I agree, there's something fundamentally wrong with the system. A, with the chances we're creating, but B, with the positions we get Lacazette in. I don't know if you saw the average positions of our players against Leicester, but Cecil and I covered it on the stats review show, and he's level with Partey. This is meant to be our world-class box-to-box sort of DM that we've just signed for Atletico Madrid, and he's playing no higher than he's playing no deeper than our main striker, and that's an Arteta problem. So I think there's a lot of people who, I don't want to use the word blame, that's harsh, but there's a lot of different elements contributing to why we're having this discussion about Lacazette at the moment.
Turkish says, he says drop Lacazette, drop Willian, and drop Bellerin. Turkish don't play. Right, no. Turkish, we're going to get you on before the end of the week as well, because I know he's always got great stuff to say. But there's a lot of people calling for Lacazette's head right now. A lot of people calling for it. Give me your preferred three. What would you're in charge.
Yeah.
Next game. Give me your team. Yeah, next game. Give me your team.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You on the spot. Give me your team. Next game.
Leeds away, right?
Leeds away. Give me your team.
Okay. Obviously, Leno. Not going to open that Martinez can of worms again. Obviously, Leno. I would stick with Bellerin, actually. I just a quick one on him. I know he's not been perfect, but the team hasn't been at all. And I think people have been a little harsh on Bellerin. He's struggled at times, but he's also done good. Stick with Hector. I'd have Gabriel. I'd have Tierney as a back four.
Oh, he's frozen up. As soon as he started talking about Bellerin, he just froze. He froze. James froze up. All right, we'll get James back in a minute, and he can complete that team. But we're keeping the argument and conversation going. Play Willian. Dre Lifestyle says play Willian as a number 10. Saka, Aubameyang, and Pepe. Now, I that's not a bad shout, although he's another one who's been very poor, Willian. But I don't want to see him out wide either. Maybe play him as a number 10. And, I think that might be the answer. All right, we got James back. Right. Give me your team.
Sorry, yeah,
completely froze
up.
As soon as you said Bellerin, you just froze up. It's almost like someone just bounced you off, like what happened to him the other day, and the whole thing just froze up.
Yeah.
Right? After you was trying to give us your reasoning again around Bellerin.
No, look, I understand why. Yeah, I understand why Maitland-Niles probably deserves a shout, but I don't think Bellerin's been as bad as people say. And I'd stick with Bellerin. I think he offers pace down the flanks. I'd have David Luiz, Gabriel, Tierney. I'd go for Ceballos, Partey, and Joe Willock. And then I'd go for Pepe, Aubameyang, and I'd have Willian on the left. I know Saka's done really well, but I just want to see what Willian can do in areas that maybe come a bit more naturally to him on his favoured right foot. And I just feel like he's a bit isolated out on the right, and maybe Saka needs a bit of a rest. So that would be my team. But I see why Willian probably deserves the drop as well.
Okay, so Lacazette's dropped from your team.
He is, unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. By the way, on Bellerin, Simbo says Bellerin got bodied by Grealish. Why didn't Bellerin take him down? I'm a Liverpool fan, and Robertson would have hacked him down. Your team is soft and too nice. You can't even argue with that,
No, I know.
You can't even argue with that. That is one of the things with Bellerin. He is too nice when it comes to those things. You know what I mean? He needs to. That's true. Robertson would have roughed him up. He wouldn't have just took that like that.
Yeah, I agree.
That's your team. Alexander says, hey, Robbie, when we get Martinelli back, here's the pressure again. It's going again. We're doing it again. He says, hey, Robbie, when we get Martinelli back from injury, would you like to see him playing on the wing or almost like a false nine? Well, he's not really putting pressure on him, Alexander, but I know lots of people have been saying, we need Martinelli. Remember, he's only 19. But he's a great player, and I don't think he would have missed that header the other day because he's strong in the air. But yeah, we would have played Martinelli. I like to see Martinelli playing down the middle as well.
Yeah.
And what about interchanging? How comes we're not seeing that? I want to see some. White Yardie says Lacazette needs to bench himself, right? when we're going to see? What I'm not seeing at the moment is interchanging football. You know what I mean? Like Aubameyang changing. It's too rigid.
Yeah. No, I agree. When you look at the best front threes in the country, they're incredibly fluid. In fact, they line up as a three, but really, whoever's nearest to the man will press. Whoever sees a movement in space will make that run. We seem awfully structured in everything from defense to attack. Now, when you're defending, that's great, but when you're going forward, you want a little bit of fluidity and freedom. I think Thierry Henry once said on Sky Sports that Guardiola coached them in thirds. The first third and the middle third, he taught them how to get the ball to the final third. And once they got to the final third, he said, right, do what you want to do now, express yourself. And we don't look like we're doing that. We look like we can get to the final third and then we run out of ideas.
Yep. Damien says, give Balogun a chance. His stats speak for themselves. Is it too early for Balogun?
Yeah.
He came on the Europa League.
I think so. Let's give him a few more Europa League games, then we can see what he can do. But, you know, these strikers, they've got to break through at some point, you know, so there's no reason why he couldn't be our starting striker by the end of the season. But I don't think, you know, just starting him against Leeds is the answer.
The man says, give Martinelli Lacazette's number 9, or we play a 4-4-2 with Aubameyang and Martinelli together. Martinelli's the saviour.
Martinelli. In fairness, he looked great.
No pressure, Martinelli, when you come back. No pressure. What was you going to say, sorry?
No, I was going to say he looked great last season, and he scored a lot of those important goals. Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah, he's not going to come and change everything, but he can definitely give us more balance in attack.
Dre Lifestyle said the problem with our club is that players will play 5 decent games out of 50, and the bad games are forgotten. New contracts are offered. Who's he implying? Who's he talking about there?
Maybe
it can't be on about Aubameyang, because Aubameyang has been superb up until he signed that contract. But listen, I think he's a quality player, will come good. We need to get him in. I agree with you. Listen, I'll tell you guys now, I love Lacazette as a player, right? I love his attitude. I love the fact that even when he's not playing well, he puts in a shift. Always, you know, me being quite an old school fan, I always like to see when a player is obviously not playing to his top ability, at least he's putting in a shift. He's working hard. And he does a lot of work that goes unnoticed. Off the ball, hold up play. You know what I mean? He does a lot of that sort of stuff, right? However, the time has come. He has to be dropped, in my opinion. I would put him on the bench for the next game. I would play Aubameyang down the middle. I would play Saka on one side, and I would play Pepe on the other side. Willian be out as well. Possibly a Willian in a number 10 position. I'd like to see that, but I think maybe I'll try that in a Europa League game first to see how that works out. But for me, Lacazette, you know, it's not... How do I explain it? He's scored more goals than Aubameyang, but I just feel that some of those chances, if they fall to Aubameyang, you know, that one-on-one against Liverpool, even though we've seen Aubameyang miss one-on-ones before, but I just feel that if we're working off the premise that players are getting very few chances, then I want those very few chances to fall to Aubameyang. A bit like at Leicester, where they always seem to fall to Vardy, and he'll put him away. You know? Wayne says, it doesn't matter if you play Martinelli, Aubameyang, or damn Messi. If strikers get no service, they won't get goals. No creativity in the midfield. And that is a major problem. And as I said, the problem is that sometimes these guys are just getting maybe one chance a game.
Yeah.
So if we were creating a load of chances and he would have put that header over at the weekend, but then there was 2 other tap-ins that he got, nobody remembers it, do they?
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
You know?
Do you think Lacazette is expected to be the creativity?
It kind of seems that way sometimes. Like he's in there to work hard, because you look at him, as I said, you look at him in games, he absolutely works his socks off. He's always subbed off because he's knackered.
Yeah,
so it's like he's almost been put in there to do a job. But people judge strikers on goals, and you know. They want to see it. I mean, this guy says, Real Madrid, he says, Benzema is world-class without much goals. I feel Lacazette the same. You can't judge him on goals. He has to build up like Benzema. That is true. Benzema does do a lot of build-up play. Even Giroud, you see him like in the French team, he's there to sort of do a lot of the donkey work for other players.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, the donkey work, he ain't even getting the ball to do any donkey work at the moment.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually. And sorry to interrupt, but I was, in preparation for this, I was looking at a few stats. Lacazette has had 188 touches this season. But if you compare him to other creative strikers who come deep for the ball, Kane's had 352. Raul Jimenez has had 376 and Firmino's had 355. So they're averaging like nearly double the amount of touches. And that's, I mean, who do you blame for that? Is that Arteta?
So that tells you that he's not getting the ball in.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Mm. So is it his fault then?
Well, it's an interesting one because if he's not showing in the right positions to get the ball and get involved, then that is his fault. He's not that's a product of the system, isn't it? So I don't know. Again, I think blame falls on both sides.
Yep. White Yardy says if we had a creative midfielder, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You think that's true?
Yes, to a degree. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do actually.
We do have a creative midfielder. You know what? I'm gonna have to do a show this week on the O word. That's what I always call it, the O word. All right, which is Ozil, because this is another. There's a few debates to be had at the moment.
Yeah.
This one, Lacazette, should he be dropped? Ozil, was that a big mistake leaving him out? And the Saliba one as well. That's another one we're going to talk about before the end of this week as well. So there's a few subjects to be addressed, right? But the O word is one, because we're lacking creativity, and he's been left out for football reasons. Remember?
Yeah.
Nick Croydon Gamer says, do you think Arsenal would be in a better situation if they'd have got Mourinho? Nope. Should Laka drop deep to avoid being marked? I'm a Spurs fan, but I really enjoy your content. Oh, right. Mourinho. Listen, but this is the difference. As I said this the other day. The last couple of Tottenham games I've watched, they played against Burnley. They created very little. They played against West Brom, same thing, but they got over the line because when those chances did fall to Harry Kane or Son, they took it. And this is the small margins when, you're playing in a team that's not creating much. If that chance falls, you've got to take it. And if you don't, So, whilst you can feel sorry for Lacazette and say, it's harsh and we're not creating enough. But, when those chances come, you've got to take them, man, because if you don't take them, you're under pressure. You're under serious pressure.
A lot of Spurs' recent wins have come from just being clinical, not even being brilliant, just being clinical. And Harry Kane is the difference between them being second and 8th or 9th right now. That's Mourinho's doing a decent job there, but the best thing he's done is get the best out of Harry Kane, and we need to get the best out of our strikers now.
Wayne says Arsenal spends all the attack pushing the ball to the wide players. If you see the heat maps, there's no link between the front three and the midfield. Well, James, I know you see all the heat maps. You study them hard. Is that true?
Yeah, it's absolutely spot on. And this is why I asked the question about whether Lacazette's meant to be the creativity, because when you look at the heat maps and the average positions, Lacazette is almost playing as a third midfielder. So I'm thinking, well, if you're dropping that deep, clearly your role is to link midfield to attack in some way. It must be. It's not like we're really worried about Douglas Luiz, so he's being told to man mark him in the Villa game. It's clearly meant to be a link between us getting from one side of the pitch to the other. But Lacazette's struggling to do it, and I don't blame him. I was listening to Mo earlier, and Mo was spot on. He was saying, he should be leading the line. He should be in the box. you know, picking up those half chances and getting shots away. But it doesn't look like that's his main job at the moment. He's trying to do this false nine, and it doesn't come naturally to him. So yeah, there is a massive gap between midfield and attack for sure.
I was just laughing at this comment. This guy says, "Just came on, and that ain't Mo."
Okay.
Well done, Ben. I love that one. Mo was. You see, that's your fault, Ben, because you came on late. Because Mo was on for the first 25 minutes, but he has had to go. This is not. It's not Mo. This is James, right? But big up Mo, who was on earlier. Creator saying playing as a false number 9. So is he playing as a false number 9 then?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You think that's what's happening? He's playing as a false number 9, Lacazette.
Yeah, I think he's playing incredibly deep. Yeah, and if you look at other strikers who do that, the ones I've mentioned, Kane, Raul, Firmino for Liverpool, they've got the attributes to do it. Whereas I think Lacazette's like the best of what we've got to do that. So I think it's Arteta trying to fit. What's the saying? Whatever, I forgot the saying. But basically, he's trying to fit players into a system that he doesn't have the players for, as opposed to trying to get the best out of what we've got.
We'll get this one. Oh, that wasn't the one I was trying to get. There was another one. There was loads of different comments coming in, but there was a Lacazette one was really interesting, but I can't. There's so many comments; they seem to be whizzing past now. This guy, he says, I think Nketiah needs to go on loan, but to a Premier League club like Brighton. Is Nketiah good enough? He's good enough for Arsenal. When we do substitute Lacazette and he comes off and Eddie comes on, are you thinking to yourself, right, goals incoming? You're not, are you?
I'm not, if I'm being really honest. I like Nketiah. He's clearly, right, let's give him his dues. He can smell where the ball's going to go, and he's very good at poaching and finding that space and nicking goals here and there. He's very good at that. But I'm just not convinced. He's not, forgive me, he's not that, it's not like he's 18, 19. I think he's 21, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I might be wrong. Sorry, I'm just sort of.
I think he might be 21 now.
Yeah. So I think we need to start seeing a little bit more. We need to start seeing, right, is he now looking like he could be the real deal? Personally, I don't think he is showing that. But at the same time, what can you do with 20-minute appearances where we're not even creating enough in the first 70 minutes? What are we going to do in the last 20? So I do feel for him as well, a bit like I do Lacazette.
Yeah, that's you make a great point with that. This guy said our mentality isn't right. If we want top 4 again, we need to be mean, naughty, more steel, just like the Invincibles. That should be in our DNA. And this guy, reflecting what a lot of people have said today, we miss Martinelli. The interesting thing, I think I said this last night, is that when Martinelli was fit, he weren't really getting played by Arteta either, was he? There was games where he was on the bench and we were like, all right, he's making a substitution. We're thinking Martinelli's coming on now, and he wouldn't. He'd bring on Nketiah. He seems to really, really like Nketiah. He really does like him. Yeah.
I remember that dreaded Europa League night against Olympiacos where we needed the goal. And we were all screaming for Martinelli to come on.
Yeah, that was the game. That was the game. Yeah.
He did, but with like 15 minutes of extra time. It wasn't even in the main 90. I think he came on in like the second half of the extra half hour. And he changed the game. We looked so much better with him on. He gave us a different element, a different dynamic. But clearly, Arteta, not clearly, but there are suggestions, as you mentioned, that maybe Arteta still wants to work with him a little bit before he brings him fully into the starting 11.
Well, there's one guy he doesn't want to work with, and I think this guy's brought it up, and he's Kyle West. And this is going to be the last comment for the night because we're going to jump off the stream. I've got to go and do another stream somewhere. But Kyle West says, how stupid does the club look? Freezing Ozil out. No one with a level head can say that he wouldn't have helped us, even if it's off the bench. Now we're gonna do the O word before the end of this week. We're gonna do on one of these evening ones. We're gonna do the O word. We're gonna have a big debate about this Ozil situation, because there are a lot of fans saying now it's a big mistake. There's still though. I mean, I was chatting to my friend Julian the other day, and he's like, "No, glad he's gone." He goes, "All these fans, they forget that when he was there, he did nothing." Right? He goes, "Are these fans, do they not remember how he walked off the pitch after the Europa League final?" He's going, he should never have stepped back in the team. He's happy he's gone. We're going to have this debate. We're definitely going to have this debate. James, thank you very much.
Thanks, Robbie. Yeah, good.
Today, you can catch James, especially in the mornings, along with Cecil, along with myself as well. And we're doing these streams every day. We know there's a lockdown going on in the UK at the moment, so everybody stay safe. Or if you're anywhere else around the world where lockdowns or curfews that are going on in this time of the whole COVID-19, let's hope this vaccine thing is for real and we can get through this thing and get back into games. But it's great to talk about football. And again, I'm going to put the link for the AFTV Mobi app in the description. Download that, as well as all the content that we do on YouTube. There's extra bits of content that you can't find on YouTube. There's written stories on there by top journalists. There's a team builder on there. There's also an app part of it where you can vote for various things. And we're asking the question, Lacazette, is it time to bench Lacazette? As I said, at the moment is 60% saying bench him, 40% saying no. So there was one hashtag vaccine out, some guy saying there, right? But thanks very much for watching, and we will be back in the morning. Thank you very, very much. And James, once again, thank you.
Cheers.